Throughout the ages, Hollywood has always been a prominent place to go for movies. From a cinematic point of view, it is a great place for that. But one could argue the ideologies that stem from the production of films is not so great. That said, the concept of Hollywood whitewashing arose from casting of actors who began to portray roles that were played by different ethnicities. This narrative video explains from a point of view of Jamie Oliver his perception of how all throughout the years in Hollywood, there has been constantly the use of white characters to fill those of different color or ethnicity roles, to both promote the white culture, which in this case would be considered the dominant one. Moreover, the concept of whitewashing could also be linked to the creation of stereotypes and add unintentional bias. The textbook definition of Hollywood whitewashing refers to the casting of white actors as characters who are non-white or of indeterminate race. What is the importance of the video? The importance of video links two concepts to the root of Hollywood whitewashing. The first one is the promotion of dominant culture. Hollywood has always promoted the white culture using white actors to play roles of different ethnicities. A concept was created from this very culture that became popular since the beginning. By using white actors to play foreign roles, one could argue that this led to the promotion of the dominant race, in this case, the white culture, eliminating the chances of those of different ethnicities to partake in major roles, as they were offered smaller ones. To discuss the point of view of the dominating society, which in this case would be considered the white culture, the dominating society portrays themselves as ones that are fit to fill those specific roles of different ethnicities. Moreover, the act of Hollywood whitewashing could also be linked to the industry's monetary gain, since there is more to benefit from showing an actor of the dominating society other than an actor from a different society or from a different ethnicity. In terms, one could also say that if so, this will attract a larger crowd and will better suit the demands of the audience. Whereas if the actor was played by an actor of different color or ethnicity, it would not be as popular in the box office. Which brings me to my second point, which is the creation of false identity, stereotypes, and the addition to unintentional bias. Part of our reaction to the video was how the less dominant society feels about the root behind Hollywood whitewashing. From the point of view of these different ethnicities, opportunity to increase in career was dampened due to the lack of major roles throughout the career. When hired to play a role in a movie, these roles are portray the culture in most of the roles given to those of different ethnicities, as always included with a preconception or idea of what ethnicity holds. In most cases, not how the society is actually, but a false conception of what the society appears to be. With the false portrayal of these cultures, this in turn leads to the creation of stereotypes. Furthermore, by repeatedly portraying these cultures in such a way, for example, theft and gang violence is related to the black race, this could solidify and create an image with the viewing of these movies over time. In turn, this creates a certain image in the way of most audiences will start to view these cultures for a temporary time. But this time could also be prolonged if it is constantly, repeatedly previewed. Which brings me to the second point. The roles and messages that are usually portrayed in films with those of different race could potentially lead to the creation of unintentional bias. The fact that this concept of Hollywood whitewashing is not something recent, one could argue that the timeline concept has rooted from an image that is built around these societies, which indirectly leads to the emphasis that these cultures are in fact the way that they are portrayed, and hence increasing the underlying root and leading to unintentional bias.
As we grow up and enter the real world, we ask ourselves, what is changing about how we perceive ourselves in a society? Well, today, the way we perceive ourselves in a society has changed greatly compared to how it was a few decades ago. As a few decades ago, people were more unaccepting of other different cultures, of foreign cultures. As more and more people live within proximity to each other, they begin to influence their surroundings. Nowadays, people of different cultures live and coexist together, with some problems that occur every now and then. Toronto, being, if not the most diverse city in the world, has people of different cultures living together. Different parts of the city have their own cultures. Chinatown, Koreatown. Scarborough has even a Jewish side. Everyone's living and working together. As for the problems that occur every now and then, it is issues due to certain events that occur within the large societies. Those issues can be counted on one hand. Those issues are hate crimes, cultural hegemony, racism, and hate speech. Hate crimes can be defined by a prejudice-motivated crime towards someone due to that person's background. It could be a white person hating towards Muslims or towards black people. Cultural hegemony can be explained by the idea of a ruling class dominating a society and imposing their views and beliefs on their culture. White people ruling the society is an example of cultural hegemony, as people think that white people are the master race. Racism is the belief that a race is more superior than another race. For example, white people to black people or white people to Muslims, as seen perfectly in Donald Trump's example, due to how his actions have caused a lot of pain and suffering towards Muslims and those of colored skin. Carrying on, with how people's perceptions have changed recently, Hollywood is slowly improving as they accept actors of other cultures. As people in recent years have been angered by Hollywood's decisions in nominating Oscars or awards towards only white actors and non-colored actors. With how today's social media perceives and changes, the backlash should the wrong decision be chosen could be large.
How does this text connect with the idea of intercultural communication? There are some concepts that we have learned in our intercultural communications class that connects with the whitewashing video I watched. Examples are cultural hegemony and stereotypes. The whitewashing video talks about how Caucasian actors are casted in non-white movies and how they take up the lead roles. This idea really connects to cultural hegemony because people of ruling class in Hollywood, which are predominantly white people, are taking other ethnicity roles because they think it fits into the norm. Another idea of intercultural communication in the text we watch is stereotype. In the video, the movie Prince of Persia, the main character casted was a white man with a Swedish last name. There is a way society has generalized white males as being heroic, so automatically any heroic movie a white male should be casted, which is a form of stereotype. Lastly, you see people of other ethnicities casted in crime and comedy related movies because that's how society perceives them.
In a contemporary world, intercultural communication is used to share ideas, views, technological innovations, and resources locally and globally. As the world is becoming a global village with the help of social media and other media outlets, intercultural communication is becoming vital for a successful multicultural society such as Toronto or Dubai. As a person who lives in Toronto, one of the most diverse cities in the world, I have been able to interact with various types of people and cultures. Growing up, I moved from a small city, Rash, north of Iran, with the Gilak Northern culture to Dubai. In the beginning, I experienced cultural shock when I went to an English speaking school not even knowing how to introduce myself. I felt humiliated and scared to communicate in any way or form with anyone. However, I got my way around the embarrassment by playing sports, and that opened up an opportunity for me to try to communicate with others. Yet, after learning English and living there for more than a decade, I still did not feel like part of the community, because Emiratis would admire Arabs more than others, like the famous saying, like attracts like. That is why I feel like Toronto is the best place for success and growth, because no one feels like they own the city.
A certain group of people believe that the issue of whitewashing is positive, while another group of people believe the issue is negative. I personally believe that the issue addressed by John Oliver regarding whitewashing in his video is negative for the world. It is a toxic issue that causes a lot of pain for the people involved, whether directly or indirectly. People of all races should be working alongside each other in harmony, but due to people's perceptions and greed, it will be some time before we can reach that point. By greed, I refer to decisions made by directors to hire only white actors, as seen in the example in the whitewashing video of a director stating that I can't hire a guy named Mohammed such and such. I will just not get the finance for the movie. It is because of decisions like that actors of different ethnicities and background will not be able to showcase their skills due to the director's decisions of only hiring white actors. It is a sad issue, as seen back in 2016 regarding the black actors boycotting the Oscars due to the nominees being only white actors. In today's society, that is a large or incredibly large issue. As stated before, things have changed over the past few decades, but it is still an issue seen in today's society.
Whitewashing can be very hard to eradicate because it has always been a part of Hollywood, but on the positive side, we can reduce it. Producers of movies should be more open-minded and encourage actors of ethnic minorities to be casted in movies that has to do with their cultural heritage. As an individual, what I can do is as follows: giving awareness to ethnic shows and also prominence to my culture, being aware of international films, festivals, documentaries, and also supporting them by watching and going for them. I'm also advertising them to other people that I come across. Whitewashing can be very hard to eradicate because it has always been a part of Hollywood, but on the positive side, we can reduce it. Producers of movies should be more open-minded and encourage actors of ethnic minorities to be casted in movies that has to do with their cultural heritage. As an individual, what I can do is as follows: giving awareness to ethnic shows and also prominence to my culture, being aware of international films, festivals, documentaries, and also supporting them.
First and foremost, it is essential to understand the foundation of the mass media. According to Federal Communication Commission's so-called whites own more than 75% of TV stations in the United States. Most of these people are billionaires, which make them very powerful, and power is what derives control over people. Consequently, it is our mission to raise awareness towards the hidden goals of the media. Whitewashing is just one part of the issue that is being widely celebrated by the media, while this issue of racism must be solved in the society. The big issue here is the power. We do not hold much power to stop whitewashing or racism. In this matter, actions such as avoiding to watch these movies would be suggested yet not effective much.